Hello everyone, James S. Cassidy here, and I'm here with another Naruto blog. Now I know it's been a while since I did one of these, but I thought I'd do one more at least while you're waiting for the podcast or something like that. Anyway, this week's topic is called Parallulz or Parallulz. Now, if you haven't figured out by the topic or by the title of this blog, we're going to talk about parallels and whether or not they have a significance. But before I go into that, what is a parallel? Basically, a parallel is something when something is compared to another thing. It's basically saying that these two things are parallel to each other. They're almost alike. They're very comparable. They have the same traits and everything, but they're not exactly the same. They're just like share common traits or common factors, as you will. Now, what does this mean in a character? This means like one character is comparable to another. If you have one character and say like, oh, he reminds me of this character, that's a parallel. If you have, if you say like, oh, this person has so many traits of his father, that's a parallel. It's two different people, but they share common traits. Now, a lot of people want to apply parallels to the pairing wars, but we'll get into that. The problem I have with parallels is I don't really think they're official unless you actually have a character in the story say something. Now, what does this mean? It means that unless a character actually lampshades the parallel, actually admits that there is some kind of connection or some kind of comparison or some kind of parallel, basically, I don't call it official. It's merely just fans speculating on whether or not these characters are exactly alike. Now, you can get pretty close with these things. You can actually say to yourself, yes, there are strong hints that these two characters are parallel. There are strong hints that these two characters share some common traits. But it has to be a good comparison. It just can't be, oh, this character has long hair, and so that character does too. No, it doesn't really work like that. One or two traits are not going to make a parallel. It has to be like several traits that are very much comparable. Like they have similar personality traits, they have similar looks, they have similar this. It's not enough to say with just one physical attribute and say like, this character is like this character because they both have long hair, so they're parallel. No, it doesn't work like that. They have to have more than one trait or two traits. They have to have the whole bunch of traits that are very much comparable. Anyway, now I found some facts here in the manga where the characters actually do make the parallels. They actually do say what parallel is what and what characters compare to what, but I'm going to get into that. I do have chapter numbers for them, but I know what you're saying to me, James. Do parallels prove that a pairing is canon or not? The answer is no. But it can give a good hint to some things that maybe this is the direction that it is going to go. Sure, it doesn't make a pairing canon, and it doesn't really say anything much to the canonical of said pairing, but it's a good hint to say that this is the direction that they're going to go with, or this is the direction that the author is going to go with. So, keep that in mind. Now, in the beginning of this manga, we've had many different comparisons. We've had Naruto being compared to Jiraiya. We've had Sakura being compared to Tsunade, because honestly, it's there. Their personalities are very similar. Tsunade is a tsundere, Sakura is a tsundere. Jiraiya is a goofball pervert. Naruto is a goofball pervert. So there is kind of a funny circle effect that you have here, where everything just goes in circles, and you basically have characters more or less mimicking each other. They might as well be father and son if they're not already. Anyway. But the more significant parallels are the ones that the characters are actually making. Now, I know Sakura has been compared to Tsunade, but I don't really want to go into that one, because I know Chio did it. She sort of did it. She says, like, oh, well, you're just like Tsunade, but I think you're even better than Tsunade. Anyway, we're going to go into that. We're going to go into the more important parallels, the ones that have people really screaming about in the end. But anyway, here we go. The first big parallel that I found was in chapter 367. Now, this chapter involves Tsunade and Jiraiya sitting down having a talk. This is before Jiraiya went to go fight Pain and die. This is the last time they talk. So they start talking to each other, joking around with each other, and Jiraiya is playing it cool, hey, I'm gonna crack a joke here or there, I'm gonna do my whole goofball thing, cause I'm a pervert, and that's my personality like that, and you actually love that, Tsunade, you just don't want to admit it. And Tsunade, being the brash girl that she is like, you're so stupid, aren't you? You're just an asshole. You don't know how I feel. You don't know anything. But anyway, I digress. They start talking about Naruto, and Jiraiya brings up the fact that Naruto could be a potential Hokage. Unfortunately, Tsunade brings up the fact that Naruto could be a potential Hokage, and Jiraiya disagrees because he thinks he's not in the right mind to yet. He's not good enough yet to be a Hokage. Jiraiya actually makes a comparison, Tsunade actually makes a comparison from Naruto to the fourth Hokage, Minato, because it gets brought up in conversation. Because obviously Jiraiya taught the fourth Hokage. He taught Minato Namikaze. So it gets brought up that Naruto and Minato share a common resemblance, quote unquote. Well, of course they do. They're father and son. How can they not have some things in common? And in this case, their looks, mostly. They look the same. Like, Naruto looks like a younger version of Minato, more or less, which is true. But Tsunade also says that actually Naruto takes on more of his mother's personality. Now, before this, we haven't even heard about Kushina at this point. We haven't even heard what she is, what she looks like, what her personality was. It was just made the comparison that, boom, Naruto is like his mother, Naruto is like his mother. So automatically we're starting to think, so he has the looks of his father with the personality of his mother. Okay, so that's what we got so far. The manga keeps going forward. We get to the Pain arc, and in the Pain arc, we have one more parallel. I forget what chapter it's on, but we have this parallel where Tsunade actually looks at Naruto, sees him standing there, and makes a comparison to Jiraiya and Minato, comparable or parallel to Naruto as he's standing there, because he's taken on so many traits of both of them and taken it within himself. So basically he is the embodiment of both of them placed into one person, which is interesting because, again, we get this one more parallel of him being compared to his father, and then now to Jiraiya. So we got Naruto being compared to Minato, and we got Naruto being compared to Jiraiya. So we got two parallels right there. We also got the parallel of Sakura being compared to Tsunade, which is, it's pretty obvious. They both have similar traits, not just mentor and student, but, or medical ninjutsu. But they, personality-wise, they have similar traits as well. But I digress. Moving forward. Now, things stay pretty quiet for a while in terms of parallels, and not really much is said. We get I'm going to bring this point up. We actually do get to see Kushina eventually, and she doesn't really have the same personality as Naruto, at least from what we've seen. Yeah, he's taken on some sort of like a goofball kind of addict from his mother, but that's really it. He doesn't really share that much with his mother, which I have to wonder whether it's a retcon or not, but it is what it is. Anyway, in this flashback that his mother was telling him, she talks about how he was born and the day and what happened to them and such like that, and she says this one particular line. She says, "Find a girl. If you ever fall in love, do not fall in love with the weird ones. Find a girl like your mother." Now, this has been a huge debate ever since then, and people have been going on and on about whether or not what girl is like Kushina. So people have been saying, it's Sakura, obviously like Kushina, because look at, she has the same tics. She's tsundere like his mother. She even has a shade of red hair, which hers is pink, and Kushina's is, red. They both fell in love with the goofball boy, and they both, the goofball boy, always noticed the one flaw that they hated about themselves and actually loved them. You know, Minato with her red hair and Naruto with Sakura's forehead, which going back to the bench scene. But again, this was just our interpretation. This was not the official manga yet. The manga has made no comparison to Sakura or Kushina at all yet, but I will get into that. We fast forward now to chapter 631. Now, 631 plays a huge role in this one because it has basically caused a huge stir in the fandom. Or, in the fandoms, like many outcry horrible things about this chapter. It even caused some Naruto websites to be shut down temporarily because of it, and it has caused many problems. But anyway, in this chapter, we have Sakura healing Naruto. Naruto's just sitting there. Everyone's trying to protect him, and Minato comes into the scene. And he talks to Sakura, straight to her, and he says, "Don't worry, I'm on your side. Thank you for helping Naruto recover. Are you Naruto's girlfriend?" This is what he says. Are you Naruto's girlfriend? And girlfriend as in a lover, as in a relationship status, a girlfriend, not a girl friend, a girlfriend. I've had so many people misinterpret this and think, oh, he meant girlfriend, as in a friend who's a girl. No, he means girlfriend, as in a relationship. Anyway, Naruto actually responds for her and says, more or less. Now, this causes Sakura to get pissed off and headbutt him and do the typical tsundere thing. And Minato's just watching this, and he's smiling, and he has a big sweat drip on his face. And it actually is a pretty funny scene, but, you know, he cocks his smile, and he just says, and Minato just says, this girl reminds me of Kushina. This is what he says. This girl reminds me of Kushina. He says this about Sakura. This is the first time in this manga where we have officially have Sakura being compared to Kushina. Again, going back to the find a girl like your mother. Well, now we have Sakura, who is exactly like Kushina in almost every way. And we have Minato here to back that statement up. Originally, it was just a fan interpretation, but now we have manga evidence that, yes, Sakura and Kushina are parallel. In the same chapter, we also got Sakura comparing, saying that Minato looks exactly like Naruto, but in reality, it's just because of the Nine-Tails cloak. Now, another chapter comes along, 645. This chapter, moving forward, this chapter makes another parallel that actually caused another stir, where Minato says, "It feels exactly as if I was with Kushina." And he's saying this about Naruto, about the whole situation of being with Naruto and stuff like that. Again, going back further, why children are known to take on the traits of both parents. So, so now we have Minato comparing Naruto to Kushina, or the situation that they're in. Naruto is behaving just like Kushina. Now, a lot of people are saying, like, oh, but now Naruto is like Kushina? I thought he was like Minato and Jiraiya. He is. He still is. He's comparable to all three. He has traits of all three of them put inside of him. So you have to understand that he's all the characters. He's all three of those characters in one. He has a little bit of everybody. But for the most part, Naruto is basically Minato. Naruto is basically a young version of Minato for the most part. Now, what this has caused a problem is that when it comes to the pairing wars in terms of parallels, everyone always wanted to say that Kushina and Hinata were exactly alike. I don't know how they see it. I don't know why they see it that way, but they do. I'm not gonna, kick that to the curb, but I will say this. Not once in this entire manga has Hinata ever been compared to any other character. We've had Sakura being compared to Kushina and Tsunade. We've had Naruto being compared to Naruto, Jiraiya, and Kushina. But we have never once have seen another character admit that Hinata is comparable to any other character in the series. What does that mean? Well, it just means she hasn't been compared. The fans that say that she's being compared, that's just their opinion. They're not backing up with real facts like I'm doing here. They're not really, saying whether or not the manga actually confirms it. Well, it has been confirmed that Sakura and Kushina are exactly alike. Now, one argument that I see people think is, well, if Naruto is like Kushina, then you can't have a Kushina relationship. That's why they'll never become canon. That's crazy. That is apeshit crazy to think about that. Really, it really is. That's just you trying to pick apart any theory just by doing that. And we also have people trying to compare, well, if Hinata doesn't compare to Kushina, then Hinata compares to Minata. Again, no such comparison has been made. I don't even know what traits they have in common. We don't know much about Minata to really say whether or not they are alike. They're not even the same personality type. Minato is not shy. He's not withdrawn. He's not, he doesn't look down on himself like Hinata did or used to, at least. So, I don't know what kind of comparisons they're making it to. I guess they're saying that because Minato is a calm character and Hinata is a calm character, then that means they're exactly the same. But, as I said, one or two traits is not going to do it. You have to have, many traits comparable to them. You have to have many different kind of layers. Or if you can't point out the traits, you have to go by what the manga says, and the manga says that no, Hinata and Minato are not even alike. But they have made the comparison to Naruto and Minato. So, if that be the case, what pairing is like Minato and Kushina? Well, obviously, by process of elimination, Naruto and Sakura. These two characters have been compared to Minato and Kushina so much that basically the two pairings have been parallel to each other. And this is official. I know people want to say that Hinata is comparable to Kushina or Minato, but again, you gotta let that go. It's not gonna happen. No one is going to say anything like that. Minato's not going to go back on his word and say, oh, I was wrong, Sakura's not like Kushina, Hinata's like Kushina. There's no reason for him to say that. And there's no reason why Kishimoto should automatically just write that in for no reason at all. Now, he did make the comparison to Sakura for whatever reason, and my belief, since I am a Naruto fan, is that he's trying to hint at Naruto-Saku. He's trying to hint at that pairing being the final canon choice. Now, the Parallulz themselves do not make the pairing canon, but it's more like arrows pointing in the right direction. It's arrows saying, you gotta look that way. You gotta go down that path. And, if you don't go down that path, you're not going down the path that the author wants you to go down. You're going down your own path that makes no sense. But anyway, as I said, these Parallulz have popped up. These are official. I don't want to go into fan interpretation because that's not real. That's just how we think of it. Granted, there are some theories that are really good. There are some theories that are really thought out. But again, unless they're actually confirmed in the manga itself, they're just theories. Now, a lot of people made the Kushina and Sakura comparison a lot, and for a while it was a theory until it's actually proven that they are parallel. It's officially a parallel. So the big important question, are Parallulz significant? Do they make a difference in this manga? Do they make an impact to this manga? And the answer is, not really. Parallulz do not really make that big of an impact unless the author really wants them to. Unless he really wants to say to them, yes, these Parallulz, because they are parallel, they are destined to be with each other. But we don't know this yet. If Naruto becomes canon, and then Kishimoto comes out and says, oh, this was always the plan, this is why I made so many Parallulz, then yes, we can officially say that the Parallulz made a significance, and we were just too blind to actually notice them, or we were too caught up to really take them seriously. But I digress. They're not really that significant. They don't really make anything canon. They don't really say much. All they basically say is that this is the direction you should be looking. Kushina wanted Naruto to find a girl like his mother. Sakura is like his mother. Backed up by the manga itself, by Hinata, who said that Sakura is like Kushina. It's been compared many times that Naruto and Sakura have been comparable to Minato and Kushina, and it's a good idea to think that maybe that because of these parallels pointing in that direction, it's a safe bet to assume that Naruto Sakura is going to become canon. Now, I know many fans are going to disagree with me, or some Naruhito fans are going to come onto this video and be like, "Oh, well, that's not true. That's crap. That's just your opinion." Well, no, it's backed up in the manga. It is. It's backed up 100% that these parallels are real. That that Kushina is going to be comparable to. That is parallel to Sakura. It's in there. It's in there, black and white. You can't erase it. You can't ignore it. It's there. I mean, you can't ignore it, but you're just going to look stupid in the end. You're going to look like a fool who didn't read the manga at all, or selectively read what you wanted to, which is not good. It doesn't help your argument. And really, if you want to continue to think that Hinata and Kushina are more parallel than Sakura and Kushina, that's fine. That's your opinion. But again, the manga says a different story. The manga tells a different story. So I'm just making you aware that just because you think differently doesn't mean that what you are thinking is correct. There are a lot of times in manga where I wanted something different to happen, but it happened the other way in the manga, and I have to accept that. But you always have fan fiction for that. So anyway, are parallels significant? Not really. Is Hinata comparable to any other character? No. Sakura is comparable to Kushina, Naruto is comparable to Minato and Jiraiya and Kushina at the same time, and that's it. That's the bottom line. That's where the line is drawn. So, if you have listened this far, thank you for listening. I'm James S. Cassidy, and this has been another Naruto blog.